support man here to do the check. Good. We're good. All right, thank you, Brian.
We're live.
All right, guys, I'm gonna call the county council meeting to order here, for the month of August. We already said the pledge, here at the beginning of at our public hearing, so we'll skip that. We'll, take the minutes here, and then so we always do that first, and then I'm gonna turn over to Jane Stout. So, the minutes were mailed, or emailed to you. I'll look for a motion to approve those, or if anybody sees anything we need to change or amend, this would be the time to do that. If nobody see anything we need to amend, I'd look for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion made.
All right, Dave Crowley makes a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Susan Harris seconds. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes approved. All right, Jane, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for allowing us to come here this evening. We've had some positive things happen in Spencer County, and I want to make sure that we get these people recognized for what they've done. And it happened last May the 14th, the ambulance and the fire departments were called out to assist somebody in cardiac arrest. With the program that you guys have set up within the sheriff's office and within the fire departments, within the last 2 years, you have made it possible to where the fire departments have new AEDs and the police department has AEDs, and they have been put to use. Currently, we have about 3 or 4 patients that have benefited from having this in the vehicles. We've had several, I think 3 of them that walked away with no deficits, and they walked, and this evening we are going to celebrate one of those that happened on May the 14th. But we just want to thank you guys for supporting these programs in the county, and also the commissioners and the sheriff's office. The sheriff has, and with Ryan's help, we have got new defibrillators and new AEDs in the police cars, and they are becoming a very positive thing. So, like I said, on May the 14th, we did have somebody that was defibrillated. They were brought back, and I believe they are back to their normal lives and back to their job working now. So this evening, I'd like to recognize those, and so we have a couple awards here, and we're gonna let Todd Dunsworth give these to the gentleman and thank them for everything they've done. So Todd, if you wanna come up here, and here's the awards, if you would.
Well, welcome
I
back.
know you guys are.
Welcome back.
You guys do see me around complaining about the stuff, but,
So I believe you'll remember.
Yes.
Hey,
this award goes to Austin Hagan. The person that they were talking about on May 14th was my wife. She died in my arms. And 30 years on law enforcement, anything else, I'd be cool, calm, and collected. I lost it. I called dispatch, told them to get somebody there now to my house. And the first person that showed up was Austin Hagan. He ran in the house, AED in hand, oxygen tank in hand, and we ended up shocking Julie, I believe, twice with the department AED. And I know that my wife would not be here if it wasn't for the quick reactions of the fire department, EMS, and Austin Hagan showing up. He was there just like that. Before I knew it, he was there at the door. And this award goes to Austin Hagan. This next award is for Ed Hagler. I give him a lot of grief. Sorry.
It's a name from Tell City. It's
Okay.
a store down there in Campbell, so.
I give him a lot of grief on the road, and he knows it. He gives it right back to me. But that day, he was the most professional I've ever seen him interact with me because we're usually, like I said, we're cutting up. Sure, it's on the scene, but after the scene, we're just like two brothers going at each other. But the ambulance that day, they shocked my wife 2 more times with their defibrillator. He pumped medicine into her, got her back, when I thought for sure that I was going to be a widower and that I don't know what I was going to do for the rest of my life without her. Like I said, she's been the love of my life for 30-some odd years, and she's put up with me. So she's a strong woman. This award goes ahead. His partner Lori's not here right now, but I have her certificate for her as well. And she was right there, most professional person. Like I said, I treat her like a sister, and we give everybody grief, but that day she was wonderful. I have an award here for Jeff Harris, another brother on the road. He's also knows my wife, has a family, everything. And I want to thank Jeff for everything that he did that day, helping her. This next award goes to Tyler Damien. Tyler is another person I give grief to, he gives it right back to me. But that day, he hopped in the ambulance while the EMS and everybody was in the back working on my wife, and drove her to the hospital, and they got her in there in time, and she is recovered completely. She does have a defibrillator in, but if it wasn't for the quick actions of the fire department, EMS, and Austin Hagen, I would not have a wife right now. And I just want you guys to know that these are the most professional people in emergencies that you could have coming into your house if you have an emergency, or if you have a loved one down. And I like to give Tyler our time too. Or a loved one that needs help.
Sure. Thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I just want to make sure you guys know we appreciate all you guys' support that you do and making it possible so that we have this equipment in the vehicles in Spencer County. And the sheriff's office has last year become a BLS non-transport in the state of Indiana, where the deputies that are trained, they were able to get some money from the Health First money to where they have medical equipment in the police cars for those that are trained. So hopefully in the future we can build on this program, but right now I just want you guys to know we really appreciate having the capabilities in the county to do this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jane, I mean, thank you to you and your team and all these volunteer firemen and policemen. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we've said this a long time, tried to always do our best in the county to support emergency services, but there's been no doubt in our eyes for a long time that we have the best people out here to help. So to all you all, thank you for what you do. You know, a lot of y'all are volunteers and get up in the middle of the night, have helped a lot of neighbors and friends and people, strangers you didn't even know, have a better day tomorrow. So thank you for everything y'all do. Tyler, you want to say something?
Like that, there's a couple other people, I guess, that you recognize, Kirk Frederick on police fire, Ted Vanderwerf police fire, Brian Parsons, insurance officer, also did they very instrumental in the positive outcome for Colorado.
Excellent.
All teamwork.
A lot of teamwork. Yeah. So,
May I say something real quick?
yes, for sure, Ed.
I've been doing this for 45 years now. I started as a volunteer in April of 1980 with the Servicemen's Volunteer. I've worked different services throughout southern Indiana. You guys have no luck no idea how lucky this county is. From the first responders in the fire department, to one of the best sheriff's departments in the state, to our EMS, you know, we did a breakdown, I think, when we were looking at stuff. As rural as this county is, if you have an emergency in this county, either from a volunteer firefighter, a deputy, police officer, or us, you're going to see help within 6 minutes on average. And that doesn't happen in Evansville, that doesn't happen in any other county around here. It's a group effort, and everybody, you guys are lucky to have all these, the leaders like Jane and Sherry and everybody like that, you're lucky to have them.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody, anything guys, anybody else want to say? Todd, good to see you again, and glad your wife's doing well, and it's, don't be a stranger.
So does this mean you're gonna start being mean to me when you see me again?
Oh, yeah.
No, probably just when you get outside the door.
All right, we're done now.
Building, you better not speed a little bit. Stay high power.
All right, guys, thank you for everybody being here. Good to see you, and it's always good, you know, there's a lot of things that this job, what you all do, that is positive, so when we get to celebrate something that is positive, it's always a great night, so, thank you again. All right, moving on, we'll go to the additionals. These here have all been advertised, so we'll start through them here. So, first up, County General, EMA, $3,000. Guys, this is, was talked about, Stephanie's back there. This is just appropriating the funds from where the boat sold. We advertised that, that's what the boat sold for. And, so we need to appropriate $3,000 for Stephanie. And that was Andrew.
What?
Got something?
No, she just left her phone. I didn't know if she wanted me to take a picture or not, so.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Good deal. All right, so I got $3,000 to appropriate the boat back, the money back from where the boat sold. Was advertised and discussed last month. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Brian makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Susan Harris seconds. Any further discussion?
What are you gonna buy with that, Steph?
I have a list.
You have a list?
I have a list, yes. I was going to tell you all tomorrow.
Bring the list at budget time, all right? I just wanna know what.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm done.
All right, any other questions? Discussion? All right, hearing none, everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Mark Lautner, he has got it down from 10,000 to 4,200 in 1 month. This is the kind of savings we like. Good job, Mark.
That was a mistake on my fault, and if anybody remembers me from dispatch, and if I did mess up, I was the first to tell somebody, and I tried to call some of you to let you know that was my mistake. We lowered that to 4,200, so that will take care of the,
Is that a firm quote on doing that work?
pardon me?
That's a firm quote, a firm number?
Oh, yeah.
So, last month, Mark said 10,000, and I got home and went back outside to work. By the time I got home, he just called and told me that he only needed 4,200. So that man works fast at saving the money. So anyway, so you guys need to appropriate 42,000 to do a study for the countywide. 4,200.
I'll take it.
Yeah, 4,200, sorry. 4,200 to do this for the VHS radio system study for the county. It's been advertised, we can take action tonight. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion there, approve 4,200.
Thank you, Steve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Dave Roney seconds. Any other discussion, questions from Mark? All right, hearing none, everybody in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, 4,200.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, next up, guys, sheriff's here with a request for the cell phones. We'll have to look at this at budget time next year to make sure we get this the right amount. I'm sure that we've probably got another deputy or two on there too. That's why the number's off. So anyways, they need 5,400 to get their cell phones through for the rest of the year. Been advertised, ready for a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Justin Gross makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Brian Gross. All right, any other discussions, questions for the sheriff or the chief? All right, hearing none, everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, we're here to the jail now, guys. We got an overtime, so we're going to jail overtime for the year. They've had some correctional officer staff for the Department of Corrections. So we got 40,000 for overtime. We've got 12,500 for prescriptions, 37,500 for our hospitals. We got 62,000 for the meals, so 152,000 additionals to make it through the rest of the year at the jail. It's been advertised. Sherry's here, Ryan's here. I'm sure if anybody's got a question, they'll be glad to answer. If not, we'll look for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Steve Hawk makes that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
David Fromey seconds. Any discussion or questions for the sheriff? All right, hearing none, everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's approved. Total 152,000. All right, I don't see Megan here this time, which is, it's fine. She was here last time. So we've got a request here from her. I looked at it earlier today. There is plenty of money in the fund. She's needing $6,000 out of pretrial diversion to take care of some depositions for some upcoming trials that they have. So they're looking for a motion to approve that.
I'll move we approve that.
David Gogol makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Justin Gross seconds it. Any further discussion or questions here, board? Hearing none, everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, that's got us through our additions. Back here to the transfers. So we're, E911 budget. Looks like we've got, these are all advertised, good to go. We're ready to take action on tonight. We got overtime increased by basically $12,060. So the decreased dispatchers. Sherry, you think that'll make it through the year? That'll get us balanced up?
It should be, yes.
All right. All right, any other questions for the sheriff? All right, hearing now, look for a motion to approve the transfer.
Make a motion to put the transfer in.
Steve Hall makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Brian Grolick seconds. Once again, any questions or concerns? Questions for the sheriff? Hearing none, everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Transfer approved. Okay. All right, next one up here, Spencer County 911 again. We're just transferring some money to overtime again out of different things, so $10,000 into overtime. We're taking out other services and charges, E911 AT&T contract, so for $10,000. Any questions for the sheriff? All right, hearing none, be looking for a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the $10,000 transfer.
Justin made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Dave Fromey. Any questions or concerns?
It's a wonder we have that much extra in the contract line item.
Pardon?
How do we get so much extra in the contract line item?
We've had that every year. There's always about, at the beginning, there's like 40,000 that's out of that AT&T service contract that was before I was in place. I think it's something to do with the fund we used to have to pay, and it's just money that comes into that.
Can we get a hard number for next year's budget, what it actually is instead of,
I think the contract's coming up for negotiations for 2026.
it's odd to have that much extra in the contract.
Let's see, pull the report in there too, what we can do with it.
All right.
All right, any other questions for the sheriff? I've got a motion and a second. Everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Transfer approved. All right, Dale's back here, and so is Jim. They need an increase in some overtime, and then a decrease in the Liebman's salary for the total of $15,339.86. Dale?
Yes, I'd like to take $5,339.86 of that to put into my mechanics overtime, and then the $10,000 to put back in for the equipment operators overtime. Is what I'd like to do, to take that from the lead man position.
Okay. All right, guys, y'all heard Dale's request. Any other questions, concerns for Dale? All right, hearing none. Look for a motion to approve.
Make that motion then.
Steve Hoff makes that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Brian Garlick seconds. Any other questions or concerns here, board? Hearing none, everybody in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Transfer approved.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, child support. Looks pretty self-explanatory. We can just take care of this one. Their utility bills, like everybody's probably higher, so they need to increase their utilities by $550. We're gonna take, 400 of it out of office supplies, 150 out of rent. So, seems pretty self-explanatory. Look for a motion to approve.
Motion.
From me, I have a second.
I'll second.
Justin Gross seconds. Any discussion, guys, on board? All right, hearing none, everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Transfer approved. Let's go. All right, all right, Sherry, you're up next. Sherry's got a couple things she wants advertised for next month. She, wants to talk about, and some cameras. And then I think, here, there's some opiate money that was, just, approved at the commission.
Yeah, one thing we like to advertise, I think we talked about the 4 cameras, the lightning strike got down. So we got the price to fix that at $5,245. So I'm asking to advertise that in order to prepare those 4 cameras that are on the backside of the jail for security.
Yep, all right, first thing up, guys, advertise for next month. 4 cameras, $52.45. Look for motion to advertise this. Or questions for the sheriff, anybody's got any?
Make that motion then.
Steve Hoff makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Brian Garlick seconds. All right, any other questions or concerns for board or the sheriff? I'm guessing we're just tied into, we got that camera, we have to run the camera for the people, right?
We have to, not, but what we've saved money on, and a lot of it's David, we've never done a maintenance contract with them. Because I think they wanted like $10,000 to $15,000 to be a maintenance contract. If we had that in place, then that's money we've been spending and it would have covered something like this. But since we've been able to save money, we have a lot of camera costs. And they have proprietary software, so the only people that can put cameras in to work to our system is this company, unfortunately.
Well, it is what it is. Okay, guys, we heard the sheriff's request there. I've got a motion, that's been made and seconded. Everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll get that advertised. Next, we'll take the gasoline lube, Sheriff. That's all right with you.
Yes. Yeah, it's just, we're running low on that fund for gas, oil, lube for the vehicles. We have more vehicles, we have more officers, more mileage, so unfortunately that account is just a little low for what we needed. And then, as always, if that's an account that we want to put money in that we won't transfer, just like with the mills or anything else, I'm good with that, but we wouldn't transfer unless I would come and ask, of course.
All right, guys, sheriff's asking for $20,000. You can see where their consumption is down here, month over month, been figured. So, sure, if anybody's got any questions, she can answer. And if there's no questions for the sheriff, I'll look for a motion to advertise $20,000 for gasoline lube for the September meeting.
I'll make that motion, advertise for the 20,000.
Brian Garlick makes a motion. I have a second.
Second.
David Fromey seconds, all right? Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, everybody in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll put that advertised. All right, I think those are the only two things you want to advertise, correct, Sheriff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the handout I gave you all, I just want to bring it to your attention, just for reading later on. And what happened is during the review we did for the budget, we've been able to identify 2 expenses that we're going to go to get rid of. And one of them is an arcade contract that was in place, I think, back in the early 90s. I've talked about it to Heather. But it's going to be a total savings to the county of $1,200 a month, annually $15,000. And these are just deep dives that Amanda had time to get into to find out what these were and if they were really necessary. So just let you know that she's always championing for cost savings, and these are things that have just been overlooked and in place. So I just gave you that for your reference. We're doing a appreciation luncheon on Friday. Just happened to be, I said it before you all set the hearing dates. 11 to 1. We'll have to-go boxes, so if you all are in the area, Todd makes the best smoked pork ever, and I'm sure my staff can attest to it. But if you want to grab lunch on your way through, you're welcome, or if you just wanted to go get a to-go box.
Are you biased much?
Oh, very. But it, right?
It's very good.
It is.
So.
Yeah, I got some once it is good.
Yeah. So, and then we met with the, on the opioid money. What we're requesting is $47,500. I partnered with Jenny. What the county used to have is they had the medicine take back, medicine clean out that the federal government sponsored and took care of the drugs. They're defunding that position or taking, or that project or taking it away. So we were taking about 1,000 pounds of drugs out of our county a year by that program. So Jane and I got together, discussed the possibility of adding more medicine drop-off boxes like we have at the sheriff's office, and then an incinerator possibly on county property, maybe up by county highway. And so we've asked, the commissioners approved the $47,500, so I'm coming forward to you all. Melissa checked, and we do have the money in the opioid restricted funds account that could pay for that. It'll do a lot of good service to the community. It'll set us up with 7 different boxes. We'll put a rotation for the deputies, that we have one that goes around maybe once a month, clears all the boxes out, we get them to the incinerator and destroy them so they won't get into the hands of our kids or back on the street.
Okay, guys, well, we will have to advertise that request too, but that sounds like, out of the opiate fund, we would need to advertise $47,500 for the drug disposal thing. Any other questions for Sheriff or comments?
Then we have them with a video camera to monitor them. They're secure, the keys are secure, but at any time, they can bring their drugs by, drop them off, put them in that box, and then we'll pick them up and get them destroyed properly monthly.
Just
So-
drugs, no sharps.
No sharps, and we have it on there, and I think there's other options for sharps. Isn't there, Jane?
Yes, I think Autumn has like Santa Claus Town Hall, Dale Town Hall, where people can exchange, and I believe they do it here also. So Autumn has all that already set up. After we complete some of this projects and get this project going, we want to write a letter to the citizens and pay to have it sent out, explaining where things are at to the citizens, and let them know, hey, you know, if there's a box in your community, and let them know where the boxes are going to be located at, because if it's convenient, I feel that they'll drop them off more often, and we can get those drugs off the streets. So hopefully we can get something out and also explain there where the needle disposals are in this little newsletter, just kind of send something out to all the Spencer County residents and let them know what is going on and what's available for them.
Good. Sounds, maybe we can add that somehow to the property tax. We already got a standard list to save us a stain.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, if that's something we can do. So, and then we can hit social media, and then when people call Autumn to find out where
I
it
mean, it'd be
is.
next spring before they got the thing, but that would save us a whole stain if we can figure out how to do that.
Stand for only $1,
It's like 75 cents, isn't it?
at least.
Yeah, it's
That'd be
crazy.
great.
But yeah, I think we can get the message out. I also think it's probably an initiative that's not being done anywhere else, so we may be able to get some news coverage on it from the local news channel, and that would help us on that. This last, and this is for my very last, I apologize for having so much. I talked to Stephanie. and-
Can I stop you real quick?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
No. Just if we don't do things one time, I think I get confused and then we'll be all messed up. We won't get this advertised, so. Guys, I'd like to, before she talks about the next thing, go back to the drug boxes and, make a motion if we want so to do so, to advertise those, so we got that taken care of before we move to the next order of business.
I'll make the motion.
All right, Susan Harris makes the motion. Do I have a second? Justin Gross makes the motion. All right, guys, any other discussion amongst the board? Any other questions for the sheriff on that issue? All right,
Where are
Karen,
you taking that from?
the opioid.
Restricted.
Restricted opiates.
Got it.
For that, yeah, that's a good question, Dave. All right, we've got a motion and a second. Everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll get that advertised. Thank you, Sheriff. All right, now,
Last, I'm just asking for permission to partner with Stephanie for the Homeland Security Grant. Two of the things I have in my budget, one is rifle vests, and what that is the bulletproof vest I have on will stop small caliber up to a slug, but the rifle plates will actually stop rifle rounds. It's what all of us have when we go into, if it's a barricaded subject or a manhunt, active shooter, things like that. Vic Eppoliti had purchased vests for all the officers in the county several years ago, back when he was in office. All those plates all those vests are now expired. We're still using them, but they are considered past their lifespan. So I'm hoping that maybe there's a push for, if there's any way they would qualify for that, for the body worn cameras for the officers. Both of these two things are in my budget, but if we can find a way to see if we can get a grant to pay for those, that's what I would like to do, if you would allow me permission to partner with Stephanie and put in for those grants.
all right, guys, questions for the sheriff? All right, not hearing any. I guess this is a zero match grant.
It's a zero match grant, yes, sir.
And, okay. That's perfect. All right, no questions, for the sheriff. I'll ask for a motion to, approve that, the sheriff may, move forward with the, application for the grant from Homeland Security.
Make that motion there.
Steve Hawk makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Brian Garlick seconds. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, move
Thank
forward.
you.
Thank you, Sheriff. All right, and tell them to do work on the savings.
Oh, thank you.
All right, moving down here, the next thing on our agenda is this, wheel tax. So, had a public hearing, there was no comment, so it's an ordinance number, 2025-04, which would be adopted August 19, 2025. I'm not gonna read all this, I kind of basically explained the, thing, but I will, read the highlights again, so. Anyways, it is a two tax part. One of them is $7.50 and the other one is $5. So beginning January 1st, 2026, the state excise and the wheel tax will be collected for all vehicles registered from Spencer County by the BMV. They will send the money back here to Melissa, and Melissa will divide it out by the cities and us. It says, beginning January 1st until further notice by this ordinance, all passenger vehicles, motorcycles, and trucks declared gross vehicle weight that does not exceed 11,000 pounds registered in Spencer County that are now subject to the excise tax will also be subject to the annual excise surtax of $7.50 that will be paid to the registration of the said motor vehicle. Same for the wheel tax. And like I said earlier, guys, this is just, kind of a mandate from the state that if we want to, this community corrections money, we have to do this. And to get we need the community corrections money to keep the roads the way they are. I think everybody would agree that our roads are in better shape now than they were 5 and 10 years ago before they had this community crossing grant. So, and the guys working for Dale have been able to have a little better equipment to try to keep them up with. So, all right, that is that. Any questions? Myself, for the auditor, for the attorney on that?
I got one.
Yes.
It'd be for Andrew. If we adopt this, I mean, do we go through the same standard to unadopt for whatever reason the state dissolves the community crossings grant? Yeah, you have to repeal, yeah. Okay. So we would just, if the state decides to dissolve the community crossings grant, if the council decides to proceed, all we have to do is just have another hearing and then dissolve it?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there something specific that the money that we get back has to be used for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says it in the ordinance.
So, like the cities get 20% and of it, right, and
It's 80/20.
80-20 split, and the other will go to the county highway garage, and it gets divided in restricted and non-restricted funds. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, that money will go back to the county highway garage. Just basically the people that are driving on the road now pay $12.50 to drive on the road. So,
It's a sovereign
This
citizen.
came up a few years back, the state wants the counties to have, something some money in the, help along with the road, rather than just getting our regular road tax money. They want to have something in it. And at that time, we told the state, we said, we have 0.8% income tax local, 0.8%. 5 of that 8 goes into our road system. We put that in place over 20 years ago. That's raises over $2 million a year of local money from 20,000 people to put it into our road system, over and above everything we get from the gas tax and stuff. And at that time, they kind of let it go with, okay, you got something in it, and then it kind of went away. Now, now basically came back again and said you gotta have some skin in the game with a wheel tax. Well, the wheel tax, at that time, I think it was going to raise $300,000. I may raise a little more now, but I mean, we have skin in the game. We've had skin in the game for over 20 years at a high level. Probably, you know of any other county that has half % of their income tax goes into the road system? Probably not. Most of that county's income tax goes into the general budget and used for general county stuff. So, anyhow, that's my spiel.
all right, fair enough. Very true, Dave. All right, any other comments?
I mean, we're forced to do this, or we're gonna lose, and none of us, as cities and towns, can't apply for community credit if we don't put this in
Right.
place. So,
I mean, one year, a few years ago, we got like $1.8 million.
That
The whole
county-
county by the time everybody.
we've probably been
got it.
over $1 million every year. probably.
Yeah, so I mean, it's,
And we don't want to lose the opportunity to apply, but I don't like the way they went about it. We got some skin in the game, more than most counties, and they're forcing us to adopt another tax. I told the guys the other day, maybe we can reduce that 0.5 to 4 3/4. That would be, help the citizens a little bit, make kind of a wash. They pay a little more here, a little less there. Okay. All right, where we at? We need a motion?
yes, we'll need a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-04 as presented. Do we have a motion?
I'm like David, I don't like it either, but it's necessary in order to continue to get that community crossing.
Yeah, we can't lose
You
that.
know, we
opportunity.
can't lose out on that. I mean, the state has forced us to do this, basically. And having said that, I'll make the motion to approve.
All right, Steve Hawk makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Brian Garlick seconds. Any other discussion here, board? All right, hearing none, everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, unanimous, passes on the first reading. Okay, got that done. Andrew, legal report?
No.
Okay. Old business, I don't have anything. We got 2 things on our new business. Sylvia's here with, Community Corrections. Sylvia, I think you just need your grant approved for, next year, is that correct?
That's correct, it's just the revised budgets for review and corrections of our report.
Yeah. So those are here, guys. If you, everybody's been presented, probably, reviewed them. Sylvia, any major changes that I missed?
The only change is, the state had cut the community corrections budget $7 million across the board. So there are some changes as far as what was awarded for this coming grant year. On the field officer, at first they weren't gonna cover the field officer for drug court, but I actually sent the revised budgets to the state, and then I met with Bruce Henry virtually last Wednesday. So they agreed, he talked to Angie Estes to actually use those grant funds for the field officer, but we still have to come up with PI, and I think it's about 18,000. So, and we have to do a new fund for the PI for drug court, but it's just a matter of a transfer, so.
All right, for everybody that's in the audience that doesn't know, I mean, this is all grant money, and money comes from the state. Steve, are you in the community corrections board? So, I mean, this allows people that have gotten a little trouble to be able to stay at home and be supervised by Sylvia and her crew and keep them out of our jail. As a whole, it's been a very, well, not as a whole, it has been a very well-ran thing, and allows us to have a little more room and not have to pay all the bills on these people while they're incarcerated on some more minor offense things that hopefully get their life back on track. So, anyways, any other questions for Sylvia? If not, she's got a simple letter here that just says, to whom may concern Spencer County Community Corrections Advisory Board, as attested as the signature below, is that reviewed and approved the revised budget of the Spencer County Community Corrections and Drug Court grants and budgets for the calendar year 2026 Community Corrections and Justice Reinvestment Grant Cycle Award Cycle. It's been signed by the sheriff, which is the chairman. It's been signed by the judge, and then I would sign it as the board. So moved here tonight to approve the community corrections budget as presented. All right, any questions for Sylvia? Any concerns? All right, hearing none, look for a motion to approve the budget as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Susan Harris makes that motion.
I'll second.
Justin seconds. One last, I guess, attempt if anybody wants to answer or ask a question, we'll take them here. If not, we'll call for a vote. All right, hearing nobody, any concerns or questions? Everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right. Thank you, Sylvia.
Good night.
All right, next piece of business up here, under the new business is, State Senator Darrell Smith is down. He asked, a while back here, a few days ago, if he could come and discuss with us before our budget hearings, Senate Bill 1, and I told him we'd be glad to welcome him here to the council meeting. Senator.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, and
You can pull, if you want to, you can pull that thing over there if you want.
we might, let me go through here.
Or this, if you want help, the sheriff will help you pass your stuff out.
Maybe we'll do it, maybe we'll just do that. Copies for me, and then I've got one copy, I'll give you my copies of mine. Okay. Well, thank you for having me. There has been a bunch of confusion revolving around Senate Bill 1, obviously. I'm tickled with that I'm here tonight so we can talk about the meal tax and address all those concerns. So, when this happened and after it was all enacted, there was a lot of confusion. People had no idea what was going on. So I created this document right here, working with up at the State House with staff. This basically has everything around Senate Bill 1, all the related changes. I think we came out in a pretty good spot. When Senate Bill 1 came out, there was going to be drastic cuts, and there was a lot of panic around. I had two choices. I could either put my head in the sand and just live with what it was, or get. Next up, this here document basically is just for information as well. This is just the changes for veterans, elderly, how they're going to be affected by Senate Bill 1. Okay, this other one is a proposed budget. As we talk and go through that, there's some things that I'll point out in the budget. And there's been a lot of confusion about loss of revenue from different entities, okay? Very few, and you can go back to the back page, I put, this is the whole district in there. But let's go to the front, let's just stay on the front page for a minute. The headings, if you look at the first set of columns, that's 2025. The first set of columns on here is our actual revenue, property tax revenue for 2025, okay? Then 26, 27, and 28 are the rest of that column. If we would not have had Senate Bill 1 and we would continue with the tax increases that we had, okay, those would have been the revenue projections. Now, the second set of columns is 2026 through 2028, actual revenue with Senate Bill 1. All the changes in business, personal property, and every other tax changes, those are your projected revenues through 26 through 28. The third set of columns is actually the revenue increase year over year. And then the fourth set is just a percent, okay? So now if you go back to the back page, there was a lot of confusion with AIM and AIC. They were coming out with telling, you know, all the counties you were losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. What they were talking about was unrealized potential gains, right? If we continued with the tax increases, there was more revenue. So only in government can there be a reduction of the increase called the tax cut, right? That's the only way in government. So if you look at the second to the last page and the last page, it starts out with Spencer County all the way through. So if you go over to the third set of columns, $157,821. Okay, that's basically the increase that that Spencer County government is going to have year over year increase. Okay, and then if you go down through all the different ones, everybody is positive except when you go down to Hammond Township, their revenue projected to lose $541, and that is $541 less they're expected to receive in 2026 versus what they received in 2025. And then Santa Claus has the biggest hit at $7,703 less. So it depends on your mix of business and residential or how that's affected. Okay, and Richland is minus $607.
Yeah.
So then if you go to the next page, everybody else is positive. So those are the three that are actually taking the revenue decrease from 26 over 2025. Okay, everybody else is going to have an increase, even though it's actually less. And then if you look at if you look at 2027 and 2028, the increases are back to the normal, 3 to 5%. Okay, if you look at your projections. Okay, so what I'd like to start out with is just kind of an overall philosophical view of what's happening. This is basically a 7-year plan. Okay, can't take credit for it. I like the plan. In 2020, we're in a biennial budget in the state of Indiana every 2 years. We just completed this budget cycle, so the next budget will be in 2027. So at the end of the 2023 budget cycle, there was a bunch of study committees that were developed, and they had 3 goals: driving decisions to the local level, increasing transparency, and simplicity of our property tax system. We have one of the most confusing property tax systems in the country. Okay, so those are the 3 goals: driving decisions local, transparency, and simplicity. Okay, so we are just now in year 1 of a 7-year plan. Okay, there's possibly going to be some bumps in the road. It's not accidental that basically nothing, most things don't take effect until 2028. So if there's unintended consequences, we have an opportunity to respond and change. Right now, they've already started, the people that were on the budget committees that developed the budget and the property tax changes, they're starting to meet this week already to make tweaks where we need to make tweaks and things that, that didn't come out the way that they were intended to come out. Okay? So basically, if you look at this one on the second page, it starts to talk about simplicity, and you can see all the different ones, but the first page, property tax credits and deduction provisions. So what's gonna, the simplicity of it, a lot of it, where we have these complicated deductions, where you have to do 25 calculations to figure out what your deductions are, a lot of those are gonna go away, but they're gonna come back in the form of a simple credit. You know, a credit at the end of your tax bill, okay? It will be a net positive for the elderly and for veterans, okay? Another factor of that is all of the different deductions we have as homeowners. So look at if we're familiar with the 1% group, that's our homesteads. The property tax we pay on homesteads with caps, the 1% cap people, okay? If you've got a home valued at $150,000, for example, okay? By the time we get to year 7, if you look at there's a bunch of different ranges, but if you look at the halfway down in that paragraph, it's 66.7%. So by the time we get to year 7 to 2031, if your assessed value on your home is $150,000, you're going to get a 2/3 deduction. So you're going to get an assessed value deduction of $100,000. So whatever the tax rate is, you're going to pay taxes on $50,000. Okay. The 2%ers, which are residential, non-homestead properties, apartments, land, you're going to get a 1/3 assessed value deduction. So you'll be paying property taxes on tax rate times 2/3, $100,000. Okay. The 3% cap, corporations and things, they'll pay that tax rate times the full 150,000. If that's what we're using, the full rate of the assessed value. So we're getting rid of a lot of the deductions. You know, so when we get to the end, you know, there's the business personal property tax. Some people have problems with that going away because it's affecting us eventually here as local governments. Okay. The idea is then that was another simplicity portion, but by the time we get to year 7, it'll be $2 million, everything above that, which will still catch, you know, our big, you know, power plants and things like that. That $2 million, everything below that, you know, the incentive is, you know, we want to continue to help our small businesses and our local businesses. Okay.
So if I think I asked you this, I think I remember this right. So if I have $2 million worth of personal property in 7 years, I won't want any taxes on that $2 million, right?
It might be $1,999,099. I don't remember if it's $2 million.
But you had
if you're
$1.5
$2
million, you wouldn't owe any personal property taxes.
Yes, correct. If you're above $2 million, you're $2,001,000, then you'll pay property tax, your business personal property down to $1. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, then the 30% floor, right now, if you've got a 40-20, if you're a farmer and you have a 40-20 that you paid $15,000 50 years ago, you're still paying 30% floor on that piece of machinery, okay? That stays. As an attempt to soften the blow for local governments and revenue, okay? As that piece of property, you know, that you've got that we're paying the 30% floor on, when you trade that piece in, that goes away. January 1st of 2025, retroactive to the beginning of this year, it says new, which will be new to you. It could be a used piece of equipment. You know, if you buy it as a business or a farm or whatever, you're going to basically depreciate that out, and it'll depreciate to 0. It will not, that 30% floor will not be there, okay?
Purchases.
Sorry?
On new purchases.
On new purchases, yes. Doesn't have to be new equipment, but new purchases. And one of the reasons to keep the business personal property tax on the older equipment purchased before then, one of the reasons to keep that in place was to lessen the blow over this 7-year transition that we're going from a levy-based to a rate-based. You know, that's going to fall off slowly as well, okay, till we get to like year 7, and then, you know, those groups of businesses will be paying the full amount of the assessed value versus the homesteads that are, you know, only paying 1/3, okay? This whole thing is basically bringing more decisions to us, okay? I like to look, you know, there was an initial thought, okay, when we started doing this, everybody's like, we've got to find replacement revenue. Well, the idea is to encourage us as local governments. I was on the county council, you know, most of you know that, but I was on the county council of Du Bois County. You know, I farm, run a business too. The idea was to look at efficiencies, If there's any place that we can be efficient as local governments, that's what we should do first, okay? And you guys are efficient, and you guys, to your point, 8/10, you guys have the lowest local income tax in the state of Indiana. But, so the idea is to look for efficiencies internally first, okay? And if you're prudent and do efficient job, which a lot of us do, okay? Then we have the wheel tax as a tool, local income tax as a tool. Now, and to Dave's point, as the state continues to reduce the state income tax, okay? So now, if we end up raising the income tax at the local level, it's not necessarily an increase. We're just shifting where it's being collected at and where it's being administered, you know. Local property taxes, you know, collected for us and we use it locally, okay? So it's a shift where we're collecting. We're not collecting as much at the state level, we're collecting more at the local level. I think that's a good thing, because I know I would trust local government, us, to make better decisions than I would the federal government or the state government with our money. So I would love for us to collect it and administer it and take care of it, okay?
Yeah, because we here locally don't decide how the state money that we pay is spent.
That's right. We do
But
locally.
with a new plan, if it's done locally, we will decide how it's
And
spent.
we will also be involved in setting the rates, you know, for when we're getting, you know, down there to year 7 with the assessed value, so, okay? The wheel tax is another tool which like you guys talked about, goes directly, that's for our roads, that's specific where that has to be used, okay? Also, part of the wheel tax discussion you were having earlier, you guys are, you know, you're going with the minimum, okay? So, there was $100 million of community crossings matching grant money that the people that choose not to use a wheel tax will be able to work in that pool. Then there's also $50 million that is going to Marion County. Then they're not going to really call this next pile community crossings matching grant anymore, which is the reason we did the wheel tax. They're going to call it a road and bridge matching grant fund, something along those lines, okay? What's changing also on that is right now it's a 50,000 population criteria for counties. That's going to go to 55,000 is a difference. But also right now you guys, and if it's above 55,000, you have to match with 50%. Below 55, but usually below 50, you were matching with 25%. Our match for smaller county, I don't have a county above 55,000. So all of ours, we're going to actually go from a 25% matching grant to matching with 20%. So that's one thing, I know you guys are probably aware, but you didn't talk about, but that percent of money that we have to match with is going down. Now, it's my understanding that won't be a guaranteed exact amount. You know, if things there will be an ability to put more in that, you know, in that to match. So, having said that then, the wheel tax, and then if we're using our local income tax to fluctuate, we're going to ultimately, by the time we get to year 7, we're going to be the ones that have the ability to make the decisions on if you have people clamoring and wanting more services, you're going to have the ability to say, okay, we're going to do that. If you want to pave, instead of paving 22 miles of road, we need to do another 7 miles of road, well, then we can adjust the wheel tax if we want to, okay? Or if somebody's growling that you're paying too much, that they want you to lower property taxes, the wheel tax, you're going to say, okay, that's fine, we can, but here's going to be a direct causal effect. We're going to, instead of paving 18 miles, we're going to pave 12 miles of roads, these 6 miles, and we're going to wait till next year. Same thing with the local income tax. You guys are going to be dictating. If you want to take that 5/10 that you're using now for roads, and if you're collecting more in the wheel tax, you can make that 4/10. You guys are going to have that decision, have that choice.
Well, that was our thought to kind of balance out.
You will. And also, your guys' position is going to become ever more critical. You know, this is ultimately, county councils are going to have more rights and responsibilities both. Okay, so your municipalities that are under 3,500 population, you know, if they choose to create a municipal local income tax.
All of ours are below that.
Sorry?
All of ours are below that. All
Exactly. I
7.
know you're also soliciting input, things, mistakes that we want to avert. You know, we're working with, if you're working with Rockport or whomever you're working with, you know, how that ordinance looks. I envision they'll be determining that, and they'll provide you with some type of a request, and then you guys will approve it. You know, you'll have the ultimate final approval. But it's breaking down the decision-making and the responsibilities, even more. Where a lot of times, there's a lot of counties where the county government, the county council doesn't really agree with what the cities want to do, okay? So this is gonna break that apart, where you guys can all be ultimately responsible for your own, so, I think it's a good thing. That's basically the gist of it, in a nutshell. The local income taxes, what's that, what are you thinking?
Heard something.
What?
Major test.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay, so, that's what this one's about.
Okay.
Okay, and you know all about, we just went through the revenue and the veterans and elderly. The last paper here that I have is a budget. Basically, it says April 23rd, 2025, but this is the final, this is the approved version. Look at, what I like to do is point out to everybody, like on page 11. If you go to page 11, it talks about K through 12 education. So with a week to go in session, 10 days, whatever it was, all the Appropriations Committee and Ways and Means in the House, they were expecting a $400 million reduction in revenue. Okay, so they padded in about $400 to $500 million of cuts that they didn't think that they were going to need, but if it would have came out flat. But the revenue projections came out $2.3 million less. So that's where there had to be a lot of cuts, that came. One of the things, if you think about property taxes that we do here locally, 2/3, in rural communities, roughly 2/3 of our property taxes are what funds our schools. Okay? Different percentages in different counties, but roughly what it is. And that wasn't lost on the legislature and the leaders and stuff that people they're crafting this. So when the budget, we had to cut that 2.3, K through 12 education was one of the few places that Medicare was spared cuts, okay? If you look, K through 12 education actually has a $960 million increase in funding. So over the 2 years, that's over the state of Indiana. And that's intentional, right? Because if they were initially, the schools were getting the biggest hit, and for people claiming for property tax revenue. So that was put in there. So I like to point that out. And then if you want to go to page 13 and look at that I present that because of that the pie chart. This is all tied together. So just as we and everybody else, just what I'm talking about here, back in 2019, right pre-COVID, Medicaid was a $5 billion budget item for the state of Indiana. 9% of the budget was going to Medicaid, okay? 52% of the budget was going to education. Now, Medicaid is 22% of the budget. K through 12 education is only 47% of the budget, even though it's increased, I think, $3 billion over that period of time for education. So, and this is, I guess, as much for clarification so people understand, and it's not really anybody's fault. When we went into, nobody knew what COVID was going to bring, but when it went into that, there was a lot of, it can be, there was private things that went on to try to support business, to keep people working. Also, the Medicare, Medicaid rolls it was easier to get on, and to stay on. Indiana, right now, is the 6th worst state in the country as far as right sizing, our Medicare. Like I said, it's doubled in 5 years, so it's a bigger percentage of the budget. Now, having said that, there is, this get it right sized to where the people that need it, whether it's the kids, whether it's the people on Medicare, Medicaid need it, okay? So there's been, to qualify for Health First Indiana, there's now a requirement that you have to either, to get that, the free health insurance, you have to either volunteer, you have to work for 20 hours a week or volunteer 20 hours a week. So there's different things, but a big part of it also, there was a lot of legislation created. We have nonprofits in the state of Indiana, okay? So I'm not blaming $5 billion, that there's, that the people that are getting it that shouldn't get it. There's a multitude of things. The 5 major insurance, or 5 major hospitals that are nonprofits, there's now legislation where they cannot charge more than what the state averages are. So there's a lot of things that play on that Medicaid. So this is just for information, as we're going through the budget and things that are at play. When you start to hear things, please call. You guys, I think all have my number. If not, 631-3856, 812 area code. That as we're going through this. And one other thing, just as a side note, while we're talking about that, prior authorization. When prior authorization was created, when you went, so you were supposed to go to the doctor, and then if they came up with a procedure that they said you needed, you had to go to an insurance company for prior authorization. Well, it was well intended to eliminate, fraud and waste and people doing stuff they shouldn't. But what's turned into is a tool for the healthcare industry to deny claims, basically, and increase profits and make it harder for us to get on. So there's laws that'll be coming out and hopefully help that to where the medical providers and the individuals as us have an opportunity to have a bigger say, in the treatments we get. So anyway, that is the biggest part of it. It's a 7-year plan to give us more control, where we'll be able to increase, lower, whatever it needs, whatever the constituents want, and what we think we need best for ourselves. So local control, simplicity, and increased transparency. That's the whole goal of this, and I need your input as we move forward, so if there are any unintended consequences, we can correct them. That's why most things don't take effect until 2028. We've got 2 sessions to
I saw the revenue for the first month, July.
It was actually better.
It was up,
I was excited.
higher than what they projected. So
Yeah,
that's
it
good.
was, yes, I was excited on that.
It's a good start.
Hopefully it was an anomaly. And when we go through these things, and I just like to say this, there's no intention to eliminate property taxes and create a fundamental shift in where revenue is collected. There's going to be some tweaks, right? Using wheel taxes, it gives us an opportunity to do it. But the income tax is really not necessarily stable. It fluctuates too much. When we lost that $2 billion, most of the revenue that was collected by the state, whether it was sales tax, personal income tax, those things were all relatively flat. But the one place that the revenue changed was corporate income tax paid was down 25.9% from the first quarter of 2024 to the first quarter of 2025. So you can interpret that a lot of different ways. I just look at it when you're going up and down the road, and if you can look at a car lot or an ag dealership or something. A few years back, when nothing was on any of those lots. Well, now, as we're all dealing with the snowball of inflation and it's starting to slow itself down, people quit buying, and all of a sudden your lots are full, and corporations weren't selling. So that was one big eye opener for me. That changed a bunch. So that tells me that we can't totally. Everything's on the table all the time, right? You can raise more sales tax, lower property taxes, or whatever. But those are all things that I need input from you. Any questions on any of that?
Guys, any questions? No, I do appreciate you coming down here.
This is really
And we're getting ready, there's a lot of good information here. We're getting ready to start budget hearing tomorrow. We're just, we'll get through it. I noticed that when I was looking at our thing, it did, the Senate Bill 1 did increase the property tax cap loss across everything.
I know,
It did a little bit.
you guys get it in all 3 groups.
Yeah, so, anyways, we'll manage,
The one takeaway that I would just basically have this year, the idea, if we had a potential revenue increase, if we'd have kept at that rate of gain, we were gonna be here, so then you would have had to collected this revenue. We basically won by lowering 2026, we've lowered that curve from here down to here, okay? So, a long term, that's gonna be savings, but it's gonna be more gradual. So a lot of, when there was the confusion where the unrealized gains were being interpreted as losses, people were panicking, we're gonna cut 5% here, 10% there. So you're basically increasing a little, so you're not losing. So if you're holding roughly a flat budget, I know that doesn't account for inflation. It's gonna make it harder, you know, in the short term this year as far as pay raises and things like that. It's gonna be tight, but this is the overall long-term strategy that, and I think ultimately it'll be good for all of us. So thank you.
All right, guys, thank you for coming, Darrell, thank you, Senator.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. That's all I've got on the agenda tonight, unless anybody else has any new business. We will resume here in the morning at 8 o'clock to start budget hearings. And we've got our work cut out here. Done a lot of work and studying and getting prepared, so.
You get any AIC book?
I got it. I got the book. So, yeah, we'll be prepared, we'll go through it, we'll see all our office holders this week, and it's always good to communicate with you all and see what's on your mind too, so. With that being said, I don't have anything else, if nobody else has anything, I will look for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Brian makes the motion, do I have a second? Second by Dave Front. Everybody in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you for everybody coming.